following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
First down. Handoff. Elliott plowing to the goal line. Buried. Sacked by Lawrence. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Heckma Harrison, Rob Phillips, and Kyle Yeomans.
It's a Monday morning edition of Talking Cowboys presented by Geico from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star in Frisco. Kyle Yeomans, Rob Phillips, Isaiah Stanback, Heckma Harrison, and then Aaron Gonzalez running things in the back, has his comms open in my ear throughout the course of the show. But we've got some fun things to talk about throughout this show as well. We'll be on for the next hour up until 12:30, and we've got Rob Phillips in studio. How about that for the first time since the pandemic? And I am super excited about that. Rob, how are we doing today?
It's good to see you in person without a mask on.
I know, it's kind of crazy.
In the hallways is one thing, but actually in studio, this is special. Now we need to get all four.
I know.
We need all four. Everybody, let's get the band back together.
Get the gang back together,
Yeah.
or just together for the first time, because we've had two shows over the course of this crew that have been in person, and that was in front of an RV outside. That was the only times we've ever been on.
It was frigid. It was very frigid out there, Kyle.
It was frigid, and then the other show you were like 25 minutes late to because you were running in the Tesla.
Sir, I was testing out my 0 to 60 speed, okay? Don't you judge me.
Yeah. I'm jealous, guys. I want to say that right now, Rob, I'm jealous that you're in studio. Zaya's been in studio. At some point, man.
You're definitely a step cousin right now, Heck. You're definitely a step cousin. I don't know who you are, but you're a step
I am feeling like a step cousin. But listen, when we talk about getting the band back together, by chance, Rob P., did you get a chance to check out the Isley Brothers and Earth, Wind, and Fire on Versus last night on Instagram? I would take that as a no.
No, hang on. No. I didn't. You know what? I didn't have the volume up, but I sure saw the visual. Let's talk about it.
No, man, you talk about fun last night. I'm just for the old school guys like myself, the Isley Brothers, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Man, it's like those are vintage classic groups. They had a verses on Instagram. It was just a good night for R&B. Look, man, I'm not a part of the TikTok generation.
I'm not either.
Hey, Heck, I have a confession
Speaking of,
I have a confession to make.
Wait a minute, though. Wait a minute.
Heckma's got a point to this.
Speaking of TikTok generation.
Oh, jeez.
Kyle Yeomans,
hey guys.
I love you like a step nephew, but what are you doing?
Oh,
what?
No, don't tell me he has a...
The things you do for love.
Zaya, his man card is on a 90-day suspension.
Whoa!
Please bring it up.
It's 90 days.
Why?
He can't get back for 90 days. You gotta see it to believe it. That's all I gotta say about it.
IRS, just hit up his Instagram story, and your day's made, basically.
Yeah, just it's on the Instagram. It's also on the Twitter. There's a couple different versions. We did it multiple times, but I'm shocked that the confidence level wasn't awarded with this, because I felt like I got out there and I owned it, but. That's okay. I got some positive feedback.
With confidence.
That's true. That's a good point. I had some positive feedback from it, but it was fun. Basically, for those of you listening who aren't in on the joking, go follow me at Kyle_Yeomans and go look at the video. It was a TikTok dance with my girlfriend Lorena, who basically during Easter dinner was like, "Hey, let's go out and do a TikTok dance." So I did, and I owned it, and it was fantastic. She was way better than I was, which is understandable, but that's what we did during Easter dinner.
God. You're lucky I can't see stories on the computer.
You got to check it in the break, man.
We'll pull it up and make sure everybody does. But hope everybody had a very safe and wonderful Easter weekend and was able to celebrate and or relax and just have a good weekend. But, the Cowboys have another weekend on their schedule coming up in 2021. 17 games approved through the NFL and the owners' meetings last week. That was something that we all kind of knew was on the radar ever since really the collective bargaining agreement prior prior to the 2020 season that 17 games was going to be a thing. Well, Rob, it's now a thing, and the Cowboys are going to play the New England Patriots on the road. So 9 road games, 8 home games in 2021, something that I know the Cowboys aren't necessarily excited about, but the NFL's pretty excited about it.
No, it's money.
Money for everybody.
And it is it's not one less preseason game this year. It will be going forward because the Cowboys, my understanding, they're still going to have 4 preseason games because of the Hall of Fame game, which is always kind of like the kickoff, and then you have the actual exhibition schedule. So, I mean, look, it's not Tom Brady, but
it's a lot of football.
It's a lot of football, and it's the Pats on the road, and heck was going down the schedule, the road schedule. It's not friendly for the Cowboys in 2021, even though they've got technically a third place scheduled this next coming season.
Oh gosh, yeah. If you look at some of the teams that they're gonna face, Heckma, it's something that you're gonna have to be really on point about if you're gonna find a way around that schedule.
Is that a January game in New England?
We don't know.
Yeah, don't know yet.
I think they're probably going to announce a schedule in the next month. If not before the draft, then probably right after.
Last year it was right after my birthday, which is the first week of May.
That would suck. Just saying, for those that have never played in New England, that would be terrible, actually.
Heckma, what were you going to say about the opponents there?
No, I mean, you talk about third place, and typically you get maybe not the toughest schedule, but our road games are pretty tough. So
stout.
Yeah, it is that. But, when it comes down to the 17-game season, when they announced it, I'm just one of those people, and just for my own selfish reasons, I'm like, yes, more football. And, the NFL is a well-oiled machine that is going to pay attention to supply and demand. And the demand is there for more football. They incorporated an extra playoff game last year. And now we get an extra game this year during the regular season. And, you've heard a lot from the players just with conflicting ideas about that extra game. So I'm really interested in hearing what Isaiah has to say about it, because the players don't seem to be too happy about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, from a physical standpoint, obviously I don't know all the ins and outs in terms of the back end aspects of it, in terms of what's going to happen with their health insurance, post career and things of that nature. Those are the things that will really make up for it in a sense. But your body's done. I mean, you're talking about 16 regular season games, right? So I know fans are out there hyped right now. And we're talking about 17 regular season games. So you take 17 games that matter, right? And then you factor in, 2 preseason games where you're starters, right? Because everybody says, well, all the starters don't play. About 1.5 games where the starters play in the preseason, right? So let's call it 18.5 games. And then, by the way, if your team is good, you go to the playoffs. Right, there's a thing called the playoffs. I know some, hopefully we learn a little bit more about that going forward. But that gives us 19 games, 20, 21. If you make it all the way, we're talking about 22 games, right? If you start off in the first round, right? So that's a lot of football. That's a lot of banging. If you're an offensive lineman, you're playing 60-plus snaps a game. You are hitting your head against another player 60-plus times per game, times 22 potentially, right? 17 guaranteed. You're talking about, stress on tendons and ligaments and knees and joints and all that stuff. It wears you out. And obviously, most people are going to say, "Hey, you understand the demands that come with the game." Very true. You sign a contract, you understand it. That doesn't mean that you become negligent when it comes to the topic. So hopefully there's some things on the back end that are going to take care of these guys for past their career, after their career, because they're going to need it.
It is something to look for, and you look at all the extra opponents that I was trying to find during your, I guess, explanation there. But Kansas City on the road, Los Angeles, who of course is an up-and-coming team with Justin Herbert and company on the road. The Vikings, we take the trip up north again. New Orleans, of course, your divisional opponents. Tampa Bay, and then New England. That's your road You got both teams that were in the Super Bowl. You had the Rookie of the Year. You have the best running back in the league right now, which is Minnesota, and I guess you could probably throw Derrick Henry in there as well. You got New Orleans, who, of course, they're going to be on a bit of a rebuild without Drew Brees, but yikes. I mean, Rob, I don't know if there's a road team that's going to be challenged just as much as this Cowboys team is going to be in 2021.
That sounds like a first-place schedule, honestly. And if you look at the home games,
yes, it does.
I mean, every division game every year is a toss-up to me.
Sure.
Giants should be better.
Yeah.
Eagles could be better. Washington's definitely a improving team. Arizona, Atlanta, Carolina, Denver, Raiders. I mean, you can't. You look at all those teams and say that's a winnable game. That's also a losable game. So,
goodness,
on paper, it doesn't look like an easy schedule for the Cowboys in 2021. And I don't want to draw a road game against Bill Belichick, no matter who the quarterback is. Cam Newton's still an effective quarterback too, by the way. So, and to Isaiah's point, it's going to be 18 at some point, right? They're going to get to 18 games, and they'll drop it down to 2 preseason games, but
they'll round it out.
It comes down to money, and look, the players agree to it as what's more money for the players. But Isaiah's right. I mean, you walk into a locker room in December every year, and guys are feeling it. Guys are feeling it in mid-September, late September as well. But it's the nature of the sport. It's a grind, man.
What kind of team is going to be more well equipped to face a schedule like this? Is it going to be those teams that are full of experienced players, or is it going to be fresh legs? Because I kind of lean both ways of being able to pace yourself, but also, I mean, the fresh legs are going to help out whenever it comes to playing 17 games.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that I think the bye week is more important than it's ever been now, where it's placed. And wanting to know where the NFL is going to go with maybe incorporating an extra bye week and also extra bodies for your roster, if they're going to go there at all. We hadn't heard anything about it, but still, those are some of the things that I think that the 17-season grind is going to give you. But look, you ask those questions about fresh legs and where we're going to place or how we're going to be with their home schedule versus away. We got some tough games, obviously. Are we built for it? Right now, I don't think that you're in position to have any confidence, especially on the defensive side of the ball, right? The teams that we're going to come up against are going to be a culmination of teams that can run the ball and can definitely pass the ball when you talk about the Kansas Cities of the league. And, Herbert is going to present a challenge in the Offensive Player of the Year. So we have to right now start looking at the way that we're building this team, whether it be to, for the NFC East or to survive a season like this when you look at the competition and, man, you could be behind the 8 ball really quick if you're the Cowboys.
Isaiah?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna add that Harold Nash Jr. needs to be a name that is highly talked about in this offseason. And for those that don't know who that is, he is now the head strength coach for the Dallas Cowboys. I had the pleasure of having him as an assistant strength coach when I was in my time in New England. He knows what the heck he's doing. He's a fiery guy. He's a lot of guy in a small package, right? He's a small dude, but he's full of energy and knowledge and he's aggressive, and he knows how to get after it in terms of the strength program. I would say that the best strength and conditioning program, this is hard because I was really spoiled in the NFL, but I was the strength and conditioning program that I experienced when I was my time in New England was probably second to none. And Coach Nash was one of the main reasons for that. He knows what the heck he's doing. It is more important than it's ever been this year for us to have a full offseason, no virtual stuff.
Yes.
I know we're preparing for virtual, but in person, 17 games, it is uber important to get these guys not on site, not only for the mental aspect and to understand what their responsibilities are assignment wise, but for the strength and conditioning aspect of things. He has his job cut out for him because it is a serious undertaking to understand what guys' bodies need throughout the season, and for that strength coach to work in accordance with the head coach to make sure that things are still being handled accordingly while taking care of your players.
He's right on. I mean, I if I'm Dan Quinn, man, and I know this is still being discussed between the player side and the league about whether there's going to be some form of in-person off-season. If I'm Dan Quinn, I don't want to see my players for the first time in late July. I just
for training camp.
You're trying to get this defense back on track, and there's I think there's a bonding element to it, but I think also in terms of installing a new scheme and just for the offense too, for special teams, they just need to be together a little bit this offseason. And look, I think we talked about some of the free agents, a lot of the free agents that didn't work out last year. Maybe it would have helped them, if they had gotten into the program. I mean, look, Dontari Poe apparently was overweight, was not in shape when he came in. Maybe if he was part of the offseason program, would have been a different story in person. Things like that. Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen. I know Mike McCarthy said last week, and Isaiah just said it, preparing for virtual, it would be nice for them to at least be around each other a little bit. And I think they can work out some here. But I just mean like OTAs, minicamp, I think that's really important.
Just having those team drills together and having at least a little bit of camaraderie and familiarity really with Dan Quinn is something that I know the Cowboys would definitely benefit from. And Mike McCarthy talked about it himself of even these games, these preseason games even. They're saying he's talking about stories of in the past and players going out to eat and doing different things. Now, that's still probably going to be pretty suppressed, so that makes these more in-person meetings even more and more crucial whenever you get an opportunity to be together. But Isaiah, a lot of people might look at this as just, it's one more game. That's it. It's just one more game on the schedule. Because, I mean, whenever you look at it from the outside, that's exactly what it is. It's just an added game. You get 2 extra weeks, I guess, technically. You get the backside bye week following week 18, and then you also have your bye week in the middle of the season. But why is one more game that much more imperative and that much more vital whenever it comes to all of the hubbub around this 17th matchup?
Yeah, so let me give it from a player's perspective, because I know that's the sentiments of a lot of fans and watchers from the outside. No disrespect, because people just don't understand. So let me help you understand. If I ask you to run full speed into another grown man, right, and with no remorse, just give it your all with pads on. You have a helmet and pads on, but you have to run full speed and hit this person. How many times do you think it takes for you to get hurt?
Once.
Takes one.
Yeah.
One time.
It takes one. It takes one. So now you're saying from the special teams player all the way up to the starter, you're saying now you're asking these guys to do this at least 20 times for the special teamers, right? Call it 20 plays a game. 20 plays up to, call it 85 games. If you're the Kansas City Chiefs, 85 plays a game. 20 to 85 more hits when it only takes one more hit. Right, one more twist, one more turn, one more bad cut. I get it from a fan's perspective, but understand it from a player's perspective. And yes, we signed up for it. Yes, I get it. I know that's what people are going to say. It takes one play. So you're just literally increasing their chances of one of your favorite players getting hurt. That's all it takes.
That's why the Pro Bowl is not, the most competitive thing you've ever seen in your life. Because guys don't want to get hurt, and I don't blame them one bit. And maybe, and maybe when we're talking about the offseason program, maybe that's DeMaurice Smith's argument. Is that they, injuries were apparently down last year, and the quality of play was still pretty good, and we got a 17th game, so maybe we don't need a full off-season program in person, but from the Cowboys' perspective, I think they could certainly use it.
Yeah, they definitely need it. I think if they're going to try and turn around a little bit more than what they had last year on that defensive side of the football, especially. On the offensive side of the football, things were a bit awry in 2020 as well. And I teased at one point, is Dak Prescott going to be the starting quarterback in 2020? Well, I'm going to tease that again. Will he be the starting quarterback in 2021? I'll explain my tease when we return on Talkin Cowboys, presented by Geico.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
There's nothing as unique as our eyes, which is why Essilor pioneers ways to make lenses as unique as you. Verilux for super sharp vision, Essential Blue for protection, and Crizal for freedom from glare. 3 cutting-edge solutions in a single unique lens. So whatever your needs, insist on Essilor. Visit your local Essilor experts and find the perfect lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
We're back with a tasty treat that's sweeping airwaves and taste buds. It's new Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda. Let's take a listen.
Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda's here. A new combo that's music to my ears, okay. Let's play. Cream Soda and Dr. Pepper time. Pour it in a glass of ice.
Ah, music to my ears and mouth. New Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda.
A delicious duet.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Back here on Talkin' Cowboys, presented by Geico. Kyle Yeomans, Rob Phillips, Heckma Harrison, and Isaiah Stanback. Whether you're watching from home or you're cheering in the stands or you're watching TikToks during your spare time, with Essilor lenses, you can see every exciting play and or video. Book an appointment at your local Essilor experts and see what Essilor can do for you. See more, do more, Essilor here on Talkin' Cowboys. And Isaiah and I actually got our...
Can I
what?
Yeah.
We got
to say something about that, man.
Yeah, say something about it.
Essilor is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Essilor is awesome. I can tell you that I've had my eyes checked a handful of times in the past, and I have never, and I mean never, experienced that level of customer service, of in-depthness, pure just information, and my mind was blown. I'm like a little techie, so when I started seeing all these cameras they're putting and flashing all kinds of LEDs, and they're showing me my eyeballs and my veins and the condition that my eyes are in, and by the way, they said that my eyes were amazing.
It's okay.
Just saying.
Right.
But they use the highest of technologies to give me that information, and I just thought it was awesome. I thought it was an awesome experience.
It was really
thank
cool.
You very much, Essilor.
It was really, really cool, and I'm excited for my lenses to come in. I want to be looking like Heckma over there and have the Essilor lenses come in. Rob's going to get his soon.
It's hard to do that.
Yeah, it's coming.
Rob's getting his soon, and it'll be a lot of fun.
But can we get one more review from Isaiah? About what we just saw in the break?
Yes.
Your thoughts
with my freshly checked Essilor eyes I have over here. I saw, because they did say I had 12 and a half vision, Heckma.
Wow. Goodness gracious. Come on.
With this perfect vision that I have, I saw something very disturbing. A second ago during the break, and I happened to go to TikTok,
disturbing,
a Twitter account for Kyle Yeomans' Twitter account, and he had a TikTok video that he mentioned at the top of the show, and it was terrible. It was actually terrible. It was a lack, Heckma. I know we just talked about Earth, Wind, and Fire and the Isley Brothers and how much rhythm that they have, and this is a lack thereof rhythm, and I was wondering. With a clear-eyed view, did you guys witness the same thing that I saw?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. How about this? I would challenge all three of you to a dance-off, and we'll make a TikTok together if we have to, because I feel like my moves would still be better than both of y'all's.
I can't do better than that.
I think
I'm
it'll
not
still be better. Thank you, Rob. I
not
appreciate
saying it was
that.
good. I'm not saying it was good.
I still think I think my moves would be better than all of yours, and I will dance it. Isaiah, we'll do it tomorrow whenever we film Hit Sticks. We'll do it tomorrow.
I'm not doing it.
We're going to do a TikTok tomorrow.
That's what you think
it's going to happen.
We're not.
It's a lot of fun.
No.
Yes, that's what's happening. All right, we're done talking about TikTok. We're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, okay.
Because we have to, because it's talking Cowboys, not talking TikTok. But anyways, I had a lot of fun filming that TikTok, and we did not have a lot of fun watching the Dallas Cowboys in 2020, especially when it came to the circle, the revolving door that was the offensive line and that was the quarterback position. And I had a conversation with one of our good friends, Jerry Madelon, this past weekend. And whenever I was talking with G-Matt, he said his favorite tease of mine a year ago was whenever I said, is Dak Prescott going to be the starting quarterback? And everybody kind of looked at me and was like, what? Are you kidding me? Well, guess what? For all of about 5 games, Dak Prescott was not the starting quarterback in 2020. So that's what brings me to my next question. I think we need to talk about the plan that's at hand for the Dallas Cowboys. What is the backup scenario if things go awry again? Because right now it looks like Garrett Gilbert. And then on the offensive line, it looks like it's Ty Nsekhe and Terrence Steele and Brandon Knight again. So, Rob, tell me, what is the plan for the Cowboys if things don't necessarily go to plan like they thought, like it happened in 2020?
I think you just said it. You got triple G in boxing. You got double G here if things don't go well for Dak for whatever reason. I mean, now, look, I'll qualify that by saying the draft is in a month, less than a month. And, look, there might be an option that comes up somewhere in the middle rounds, later rounds. Same with offensive tackle, too. I know we've debated offensive tackle should maybe be a high draft pick. But at the quarterback position, I'm interested to see if they make a veteran signing. At this point, I'm not so sure they will. They've got Garrett Gilbert set for $920,000 on his 2021 contract, and you're looking at some of the guys available now in free agency. I don't know if they, depending on what they would want to spend, I don't know if you would find a major upgrade behind Dak Prescott this year. So they may do something they haven't done for most of the past decade, and that's just kind of roll with a guy who's relatively unproven.
Well, one of the things I think we learned is having a QB1 level backup quarterback is a luxury item. It really is. And you don't want to find out once your main guy goes down if you're going to be stuck with a guy that can't get it done, because our offense fell off a cliff last year once, Dak went down. And, when you talk about luxury items, I'm reminded of a flight that I took from Dallas to Los Angeles, and a guy sitting next to me had on a Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, which is a $250,000 watch. That's a luxury, right?
Damn.
Especially when you could get a watch for $5 from Walmart. So luxury versus necessity, and right now those things are meeting the road for the Dallas Cowboys, because we don't want to find out, God forbid, if Dak goes down again like he did versus New York, and Andy Dalton comes off the bench and we're expecting him to Wally Pip Dak Isaiah. And that doesn't happen. Garrett Gilbert, he came in and we found out just through necessity what he can do, and I think I felt comfortable with going with him. But I don't want to find out over the course of 11 games or 12 games that Garrett Gilbert is not the guy that we thought he was. So bringing in Teddy Bridgewater, Tyrod Taylor, or Jacoby Brissett, who I know signed with the Dolphins, but that kind of a player that has been there in a backup role and has some success. So, whether it be in the late rounds for the draft, like Rob talked about, or still combing these NFL rosters and finding a guy, we need to get that Audemars Piguet for the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, shoot. Can we talk about the fact that, first of all, I've never even heard of this watch. Second of all, why the heck does Heckman know what these watches look like? Is anybody else not wondering about this?
You can't hide money. You can't hide money, Isaiah.
Wow.
It's that ESPN money.
Wow, Heckman.
It's that ESPN money.
That's exactly what it is.
Can't tell him nothing. No, I'm in agreement with my guy Heck over there, Miss Fancy Watch, and I believe that if there's a person that, as I'm looking at this free agent list over here, if there's a person that I would feel confident paying a certain amount, comfortable amount, somewhere along the lines of the Gilbert, I would say I will go out and try to grab Blaine Gabbard. Blaine Gabbard is size-wise, athleticism-wise, arm strength-wise, I think he's good. Oh, and by the way, he just spent a year behind TB12. So I think if there's a person that you can go out and get for about $1 million, that's a guy that I would go grab, simply because he's healthy. He's healthy, he's still athletic, and he has more wisdom than he had when he was out there in Jacksonville throwing INTs. So I think I would bring him in and have him just be the consistent person that is knowledgeable and experienced already, just to be there just in case, so that you're not wasting extra money on guys that hopefully don't touch the field.
We know they're interested in possibly upgrading that spot. Mike McCarthy basically said as much. But it does come down to money, and I don't know, salary cap space is always kind of a moving target. They've got to be up against the cap at this point. I mean, when you think about if they got to slot $8 to $10 million for the draft
class,
I don't think, unless they want to touch another contract or two and restructure, it's tied up against the cap right now. And look, they spent $3 million on Dalton last year that could go up to $5 million. And you mentioned Brissett, guys. I think he was $5 million signed with Miami. Tyrod Taylor, 5.5. Mitchell Trubisky, 2.5. Chase McDaniel, I think, signed for about 1.1 the other day to go, I think, to L.A. with the Chargers. So, I mean, you go down the list. The guy that jumps out to me is Alex Smith. And I know he's coming off a major injury, and I know he's got injury history, too. You're talking about, trying to protect yourself with that coming off an injury. But as a guy that's done it, and been in the league for a long time, he's got a history with Mike McCarthy going back to the start of his career. I thought he did some good things last year for Washington. Again, though, money. What do you want to spend? And I think Heck nailed the word. It's luxury. Is it a luxury this year to spend as much on a backup quarterback this year after spending the largest contract in Cowboys history on the quarterback position earlier last month?
P, can you not afford to? That's the question. I know we talked a lot about Dak when it comes down to the contract, but now that we've gotten this done, those health issues are still there. I mean, that was a massive injury that he had last year, right? And if he's healed from it, all of those things, he's going to be a starting quarterback no matter what. But if something does happen to him, we're not confident. I don't think anyone is confident in Garrett Gilbert for whatever stretch of time that he'd have to start. And with the culmination of injuries that we had in 2020 with the offensive line, I mean, God, it just makes me sick just thinking about it. But if you put the same thing happened to Gilbert this year, where you don't have an offensive line, the defense is reeling, we're right back to square one on that. So I just don't think that you can afford to give a discount double check at the quarterback. You got to get a guy that is viable and you believe in.
Well, I want to kind of play devil's advocate here a little bit, Heckma, because maybe last year serves as, a warning to say you would rather have a starting caliber quarterback as your backup quarterback. That 100% could be the case. But it could also go the other way and say, okay, we had a starting caliber backup quarterback, and we still went 6-10. And we still didn't win a ton of games without Dak Prescott. So maybe it's one of those things of, if Dak Prescott's not playing, you may be in a hole already enough to where it is a quote-unquote luxury, and it's something that you don't necessarily need to add elsewhere.
I think with a backup, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, if you can tread water and you go 500 with your backup quarterback,
you're feeling pretty good.
That's why Alex Smith jumps. I know he's 37, and I don't even know if he wants to keep playing. He's still out there. They went 5-4. Washington did with him as their quarterback last year, and I'm with Heck. I think they got to do something, but I don't think they can spend unless they really dip into other money and move it around. Eagles spent $3.5 million on Joe Flacco. I just don't know if they can do that this year.
Yeah. Isaiah?
Yeah, that's why I was going with the Blaine train, because Blaine last year made he made just over $1 million.
Yeah,
just over $1 million. If you're saying that we're getting Gilbert, 900 and something, we're talking about $100,000 difference, and you feel a lot better with Blaine Gabbard and his abilities than Gary Gilbert, I would hope. And I think when you start looking at that backup position, you need somebody. We found out last year, you need somebody that kind of fits the mold of what you already have. So you need somebody who, at the very least, if your offensive line goes down, and I think that's the element that we didn't bring up just a second ago, with Andy Dalton stepping in, he didn't play great, but he also didn't have the best situation. So if that situation was to arise again, you need somebody who could get out the pocket and make some plays, right? At least use their legs. And that's why I'm kind of going along with, I like the Tyrod Taylors and things like that, but he costs too much. So for the price, you can get you a Blaine for $1 million. You do that because, at the very least, he can at least throw the ball down the field, and he at least has athleticism to get out the pocket.
No, I agree with that, Isaiah. Blaine Gabbard, Garrett Gilbert, whoever you go with. And I think for Garrett Gilbert, I feel as though him being at the foot of Kellen Moore for an offseason and, 2 days is going to serve him well.
Absolutely.
If he is going to be the guy that we're going to go with. We still have to remember we have Ben DiNucci also. And so his rookie season, DiNucci. So all things being considered, we have things there. Just, trying to think of what the front office is thinking with the backup quarterback situation is going to be interesting because we know what happened when Dak went down. Mm-hmm. All those injuries hit. It wasn't a good situation.
And you do still have Cooper Rush on a reserve future contract.
Wow.
So he's an option. He's been the backup before. Let's not forget his name. But are we off of the Garrett Gilbert Pittsburgh game? Or have the shine kind of worn off on that one? Because I thought we all felt like, man, he went out and balled to a certain degree. But now we're kind of like, I don't know. Looking back, they lost the game.
I think
we got a sample. We got a sample size. Sample size. I called him Yacht Gilbert. I felt good. I mean, we had nothing in the cupboard at that point, so I just felt like, come on, man. He looked good in a loss, right?
Yeah.
That's like, you look good in a loss.
Heckma made a really good. Heckma made a really good point earlier when talking about Garrett Gilbert and said that we felt good about him in spots scenarios, but if you're going to put him out there for 7 games and teams are going to have film on him and it's going to be him as the backup quarterback, I don't feel the same way. Plus, you're talking about one game where there was zero expectations.
He was coming off of the DiNucci game.
Yes. Zero expectations.
Yeah.
As long as he didn't go out there and just fall apart, which he didn't. He didn't fall apart. Credit to Garrett Gilbert. But that was the expectation was, okay, we may have another fall apart game against an undefeated Pittsburgh team. And he didn't. And it was like, okay, here we go. Garrett Gilbert, this thing's legit. Like, it just wasn't. It wasn't something that's representative of what a backup quarterback should be.
But Heck hit on Kellen Moore. And remember, they were, I think, in Detroit together for a little bit, briefly. So that was one of the reasons why I think they were comfortable bringing him in.
Good point.
Maybe they feel like, with an offseason. But I think Mike McCarthy, he's a quarterback guy, and I bet you he would like to create some more competition there if he could. We'll see what they do. I don't think the draft is to me, I don't think spending a draft pick on a quarterback makes sense. But they have 10 of them, so you never know.
Take one of these late round guys and add another DiNucci into the factor after taking him in the 7th last year. Tyrod Taylor's available, yes? Or not available?
Went to Spotrac says he's in Houston.
Okay, that's right. That's exactly
$5.5 million.
He is not available. So I see people in the chat right now saying Tyrod Taylor. Yeah, he is not available. So he is out of the question. But I think even 5.5, my goodness, that's a lot for a backup quarterback.
I just mentioned him as a guy that has done it as a backup before.
Yes.
So
Sure.
that's what I'm saying.
And he'll be the safety net for whatever happens with Deshaun Watson in Houston is ultimately what that ends up being.
Oh my God.
Really quickly, Isaiah, you also brought up the offensive line, and we've got about 3 or 4 minutes until we go to break. But how are you feeling about the offensive line health? How are we feeling about Tyron Smith and La'el Collins coming back? Because I feel like we're halfway through, or I guess not halfway through the offseason, but we're a significant amount through the offseason, and we're starting to look ahead till we get to maybe training camp. And if training camp is the same as it was last year, then La'el Collins needs to be ready to go. How are we feeling about those two guys and the health of this offensive line as we head into the remainder of the offseason?
I don't know, Kyle. Haven't seen them. Right? Haven't seen those guys.
Well, not even just talking about
on it.
Not even just specifically on seeing them with your own eyes, but based off of last year going into this year, is there anything that gives you pause about these guys?
No, I mean, we need them. I mean, we definitely need them. I feel confident that those guys are on the right track to becoming healthy if they're not already healthy. Otherwise, these guys, they wouldn't have got their contracts moved around. I still believe that we need a good amount of competition at that position. Competition is good at every position. Right? Let's just say that. That way we're not going down every position saying we need competition. We need competition at every position. Offensive line, probably more important than any other position to have the most competition aside from a quarterback, right? Just because that is probably the next most important position on the field, right? You need those guys to protect your money man, which is Dak. So if you're 2 to 3 deep at every position, and everybody's busting their butts, and every day doesn't matter how much you're getting paid, you have to show up and prove yourself, then that creates a great environment, and it's going to match what we're doing on the defense side of the ball. So those guys, I think that they'll be healthy coming back, but again, just like we found out last year, we need to prepare for the worst.
Yeah, right
preparing
on.
for the worst, and preparing for the worst is what we did last year because of all the injuries that we had. The labrum for La'el Collins scares me, and I hope that he's able to come back from it and able to start the season. Tyron Smith as well. I think the reputation that he's gotten over the last 5 years is just not being able to get through a full season. We know if 5 games, 6 games, he's at a Hall of Fame, Pro Bowl level every time he plays, but those things we're not able to rely on those. And going into 2021, that's what we're going to need is reliable guys at each position, especially with the length of the season being extended. How much Tyron Smith do we get? So when you talk about that competition at every level, at every position, where do we go there at the left tackle, knowing that that's the spot we definitely have to protect Dak in, and especially with the money that we've played him. So I don't, even with Connor Williams and all of the other positions, Biotish, I don't feel comfortable where we are right now, interior-wise, with our offensive line. So it's definitely something we still have to look at and address as well.
I think Nsekhe could be an upgrade over Cam Irving. If nothing else, Cam Irving missed 10 games last year.
That's true.
And he's known, I think he has a reputation as a pretty good spot starter, fill-in guy over his career. But to me, Zach Martin's your swing tackle really comes down to. If it were me, and maybe they don't want to do that.
It needs to be.
Maybe they don't want to do that again. But that's why, to me, it's like Connor McGovern is the guy I've got my eye on in training camp, preseason. Could he be a guy if they really want to change out 2 spots like they finally decided to do last year? How do you feel about him at guard being an NFL starter?
Yeah.
Because when it comes right down to it, Zach Martin playing tackle, if you have to, that's the best option they've got. And maybe Connor Williams can do it too. But Zach Martin has proven he can play anywhere in the NFL and play at near a Pro Bowl level if he's healthy.
I feel like if we didn't see Connor Williams play tackle last year, we may never see Connor Williams play tackle.
Probably not. And I've actually heard, if anything, if he were to move, center might be a spot he could play.
I've heard that as well.
But honestly, I thought he played pretty well last year. I know he gets, people get on him for his strength, and he gets bull rushed and he gets tossed around at times. Mm-hmm. But you also, Brian Broaddus always taught me, it comes down to you got to think of it as a 60-snap game. If he has a couple bad snaps, it could wreck a game. But what do you do for the other 58? You know, and I thought he played pretty well going into a contract year. This would be big for him.
It will be big, and Connor Williams is one of those guys.
You're so generous, P.
He's very generous.
I know. I thought he played well. I know. I might be the only one on the show. I don't know, but.
Well, he's borderline. That's the case. And right now with this offensive line, last year you didn't need borderline from Connor Williams. You needed him to take an extra step, and he hasn't. And as a second-round pick, you're thinking that he's going to take an extra step as a starter. He never has. And I think that's where Connor Williams kind of catches his slack from, is not only because he hasn't taken the extra step, but he's been a solid average. And that's kind of where I think we're all looking at.
Okay.
Heck, man, don't you let Rob. No. He got to know.
Pete getting this mood, man, where he's very empathetic and he's giving everybody.
I'm not being empathetic. I honestly thought he was all right last year. I really did. He was on the field, number one. Yeah.
Well, great. Right? We love that he was healthy for every
You can't control the health, bro. You can't control health, so you don't get credit for that.
And just some of those examples, Bull Rush, man, Daron Payne from Washington. Oh, my God. Just turn on the tape, man. Connor had a rough 2020, as we all did. But, hey, it's a contract year. Maybe he'll be different this year.
He's going to need it.
Not for your leg, Rob.
If not, he's going to get replaced by Rashawn Slater after they pick him at 10. He's going to play left guard.
Is that what's happening?
Connor Williams will not be in the starting lineup. I'm just saying, everybody. Just for instance, though, and for numbers, but Heckma, you mentioned how much are we going to see of Tyron Smith? Of course, last year was the only year that he didn't start or play in at least 13 games in his career. However, over the last 5 years, he's missed a total of at least 3 games a year, and that would be, 14? I'm doing math on the run. 26 games over the last 5 years?
Yeah.
he's missed.
Yeah.
That's a lot of games to be missed, and most of those, of course, coming in 2020. But Tyron Smith is far from, I think, a sure thing, and that's one of the reasons why Slater is up there for me in terms of draft possibilities. But we'll talk about that another time. When we come back here on Talking Cowboys, we're going to wrap things up and talk about that draft pick at number 10. What is the front office thinking around the offseason and around that draft pick when we return here on Talking Cowboys, presented by Geico?
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with United Ag and Turf. When there's work to be done, a real workhorse can make all the difference. Like the Range Boss package. Our 5075E John Deere 75 horsepower tractor features a bell spear and loader and starts at $369 per month. And the price you see is the price you'll pay. No surprises. It works like a horse, so you don't have to.
Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com. Offer ends February 1st, 2021. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Now, let's get to work.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Want to show your Texas and team pride too? You can. By purchasing your own Stetson, you can look just like how the flag guys do on field at every home game. Stetson hats, the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys and your favorite football team.
Get yours today at shop.dallascowboys.com or at stetson.com.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Final segment here of Talking Cowboys. Whether you're listening to us or you're trading those fantasy draft players or you're even working out, you can experience audio at a whole new level with the Bose Quiet Comfort earbuds, the official earbuds of the Dallas Cowboys. Heckma Harrison, what does it sound like in that bottom right-hand corner?
Kyle Yeoman's Bose Quiet Comfort headphones sound like a symphony in my head.
See, now he's just trolling us now. He's just trolling us now.
That was pretty disappointing.
Come on, dog. That was platinum right
Look
there.
at Isaiah's face. That's all you need to see.
Nielsen SoundScan would have given me a sale right there. Boom. That gave me one for that.
Which one was worse? Heckma's,
y'all hating, dog.
Heckma's read or my TikTok? Which one was worse? It was probably Heckma's read, right? Please say Heckma's read.
Your TikTok. Nothing can top that.
TikTok.
Dang it.
That's facts. Big old facts.
Oh, goodness.
Because that was your best. That was your best. Heck's purposely he's trying to let us down. He's trying to let us down.
Come on, dog. I'm telling you, I'm adding flavor.
Well, you've got another chance next week.
I look forward to this. I look forward to this every Monday at 12:18, and I just didn't get it again.
So what I'm looking forward to is everyone that's listening to be able to get their copy of the Dallas Cowboys Star Magazine Draft Guide. If Aaron, we could pull up my camera right here. It's really pretty right in front. But yeah, it's the Draft Guide. It should be out this week. If it isn't, just email Kurt Daniels. Rob Phillips even had some tight ends to talk about. He talked about the defensive tackles as well. You had a pretty tough task whenever it came to talking about positions, because those are two of some of the lighter ones, with the exception of Kyle Pitts up at the top of the tight end class. But I want to talk about our pick at 10, which is, of course, going to be the topic of conversation over the next 3 weeks, and it has been for quite some time. But what do we think the front office is thinking? Because we can talk about what we want. Of course, I want Rashawn Slater or Patrick Surtain. Those are my two. Kyle Pitts I would be fine with. It would be fun. But I don't necessarily want that. However, what is this front office thinking? Because nobody's really been able to get a good read on it about what they may be looking at whenever their pick comes around on April 29th.
Well, I think the goal is to take the best player. I truly, especially at 10. I think we always talk about best player available, and is that a real thing, or is that kind of a myth? I think at 10 you can take the best available player and not worry about position needs so much. And your goal is, by this point, you filled all the needs you need to fill, at least to kind of cover yourself before the draft. Now, what's up for debate is have they covered themselves at every position? And I don't know that they have. I mean, I think cornerback, you can
corner's wide open.
You can still point to that. I think you can still point to linebacker, even though Neal comes in as a potential weak side guy for you. To me, there are still positions on defense where you're like, they could use another more depth, another impact guy, more so than offense. But again, you get yourself in trouble when you start reaching for a need, as opposed to, hey, I got a top 10 draft pick. I could find a perennial Pro Bowler right here. Let's not mess this up.
Heckma?
Look, we have foundation problems here at the Cowboys, man. Foundation.
Shaking.
We got cracks in the foundation. And if you live outside of Texas and you're thinking about buying a home in Texas, just make sure your foundation is right, because that's one of the big problems that we have in this booming city of Dallas. But the foundation, man, and offensive line-wise, has been the foundation of our team for a number of years, and now with injuries, that's falling apart, and we're trying to find some synergy there again. But the defensive line, I don't think we ever found anything with our defensive line, even with the rotations that we could not find any impact players. I'm surprised that, we've got so much heat about wanting a linebacker at pick number 10, where everyone else is trying to go to the DB route. Now, I look back at the draft last year with Jeff Okudah. From Ohio State that went to Detroit, right? Detroit gets this guy in the 3rd round, and their defense was in the bottom last year. They bring in a cornerback, and guess where they finished last year? In the bottom. Again, back in the bottom. So if you don't get a guy that's going to make any impacts, you don't do it through free agency, I don't see how you can rebuild this team. And we were just talking about the schedule that you're going to play. You're going to play some teams that have fortified offensive lines that can run the ball on you. And what was our problem last year? Stopping the run and getting sacks. I don't know how Patrick Surtain is going to help us in that area. Now, if you want to say best player available, fine. I'll go with that. And everybody, David Hellman that's on the Kyle Pitts train, cool. I know the guy is phenomenal. But that doesn't fix the problem. That doesn't fix the foundation. And you're going to have some cracks if you go that route.
Well, so I'm of the mind where when it comes to the draft, I'm not trying to address. I don't address it. I don't approach it with the mindset of let's get the best player. Reason being, not in the position that the Cowboys are in. The Cowboys, we know the ownership wants to win now. Let's put it like that. That's facts, right? I don't care what anybody wants to say. They want to win right now. So the best way to get to the point where you can win right now is secure the bag. What do I mean when I say secure the bag? Secure a position group. Secure a position group. If you have an opportunity, where's the position where we're closest to being just solid? We need one more person where we feel like, if we got one more dog in there, we can be all right? We can put this thing together and we'll be a force to reckon with. We just talked about it. Heckman just alluded to it. Cornerback. I said in the break. Name the last time you were afraid to throw at 2 corners.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen, right? So that's not a position that I'm just going to go that I feel like I have to go acquire right now with the top 10 pick. If I'm an offensive player, offensive coordinator, I fear a solid front 7. Because that affects my run, that affects my ability to pass. So if I have ability to go out there and get a linebacker, if we can't get a KJ Wright in free agency, then we need to go out there and get the doggone madman Parsons. Okay, we need to get him 6'4", 245, running a 4.39. You get him because guess what? You have 3 solid linebackers, right? That some of them still need some coaching, but they're all athletic, they're all big, and they all can run, right? So if you get 3 dogs in there that are young, hungry, want to run around and hit, and they're athletic as all get out, and they have size, and you put them behind some of 6'7", 330-pound defensive lineman that you just brought in. Oh, you just brought in a defensive end from New York. Oh, and you're probably not done there either. Oh, and by the way, Randy Gregory and some other guys. Now you're in D-Law. Now you're talking about a front seven that can be feared by every opponent that you face, and you solidify a portion of your team that you feel 100% confident with. Now you can go work towards the outside and start saying, "Hey, now this is what we have to make adjustments so that these guys don't receive pressure." But when you have gaping holes and you're trying to plug one hole over here and plug a hole over here, plug this doggone gap over here, and then worry about the little itty bitty little pencil holes everywhere else.
Bars.
I feel better about Micah Parsons now than I think I ever have throughout this process, just because of the way that he would fit. He is an off-ball linebacker. He's not necessarily going to be an immediate impact, but he could be. And I would rather, and I was thinking about this the other day, kind of after we got into our argument last week, but would I be okay seeing Micah Parsons on another NFC East team? Probably not. I'd be a little upset. I'd be a little scared, at least at that point. I'm not saying I want him. Yeah. I'm still saying if he's probably number 3 on my list still, behind Surtain, because I would rather have Trayvon Diggs and Surtain and have – you're talking about solidifying a position. They may not be the best duo in the league, but then they're at least formidable at the cornerback spot, because that's something that the Cowboys haven't had since the early 2000s. Those two have been really good together.
Kyle, are you afraid? Let me ask you a question. Are you afraid to throw the ball at Diggs? Be honest. No disrespect to him. He's learning. Are you afraid to throw the ball at Diggs?
Maybe. But Diggs is, or that's the thing is,
he's going to be a second-year guy.
Who's our best corner right now? Who's our best corner, Isaiah? Tell me.
Kyle, I'm not saying to not address the position. Don't get my comment misconstrued. But I'm saying you have an ability. I'm saying you have an ability, which I think we're starting to feel better about our D-line, and we know we're not done yet.
True.
Right? We know we're not done, but we have brought in some veterans that are going to have an immediate impact on this defensive line. Yes? I think we all feel good about that. The defensive end positions got upgraded. The interior D lineman already got upgraded, and we have guys coming back off injury. I think our D line is going to be very competitive. Okay, you have an opportunity not only to have those guys up front, but to put 3 large human beings. These aren't 3 young. These aren't 3 small linebackers. Like the smallest of those guys is freaking Jalen Smith. And what's Jalen? 6'3", 240. 6'3". I mean, so you got 6'3", 6'4", 6'4", 240, 245, 245, and they can run and hit. And you have a defensive line that's not going to allow the offensive lineman to work up to the second level like we saw last year. That will be fixed with Dan Quinn. Trust that. That scares you as an offense. As an offensive coordinator, I have to worry about that every play, not just when I throw the ball.
I tend to agree with you. We can talk chicken or egg. You know, what's more important, the front or the back end?
Yeah.
I think pressure up front is most important. But what? What? Heck?
The chicken and the egg reference from last week.
From last week.
I completely killed
That's right.
He destroyed it.
That's right. I forgot about that. That was good stuff. So going back to that, like I think front seven is probably the most important thing, but cornerback's a marquee position. I mean, you talk about the marquee positions in the NFL. It's quarterback, it's left tackle, it's edge rusher, and it's corner. So if you think you can find like a great cornerback prospect, the top 10 pick, I'm not shying away from that. I mean, I'm with Isaiah on solidifying your front seven, but that area of the team needs help. It needs depth. It needs another guy that can go get the ball.
Games. You're trying to win games. You're not just trying to get guys who are good at their position. You're trying to win games. So what fits with the issues that you currently have? And I think solidifying your front seven gets you to W's a lot quicker than some good cornerbacks.
You got issues everywhere, though. I
mean, we have issues everywhere, but a front seven gets to the quarterback, right?
Yep.
A front seven stops the run, right?
Which we couldn't do last year.
So
I think
you spend your top 10 pick on a cornerback, I can still run the ball all over you like I did last year.
You're putting a lot of faith into guys like Brent Urban and, of course, Robert Quinn, which is fine. Dan Quinn, which is fine. Carlos Watkins. Like, you're putting a lot of faith into those guys. I mean, once again, I brought this point up already, but last year I had felt better at this point about the signings last year with Gerald McCoy and Dontari Poe before this year. And right now, I feel better. I felt better last year at this point than I do right now because of these signings. I like what Brent Urban brings as a run stuffer. I like what Carlos Watkins can bring as a depth piece with Tristan Hill and Neville Gallimore, who hopefully take the next step. But if you're going to draft a linebacker, especially an off-ball linebacker, He better come in and be a dog. And he's an athletic freak, Micah Parsons is. But I don't know if he's ready to be a dog right now. I don't know if he's ready. And I've said that previously. I don't think he's that great at his position. I really don't. I think he's a great athlete. I think he's a great athlete. Turn on the film, Heckma. Turn it on.
But Kyle, all you're asking him to do is come in and be athletic. That's all you're asking him to do.
See, but we tried to do that already. What happened with 54? He can't turn corners. He's supposed to be athletic. You just raved about their athleticism.
That's why you get somebody who's no. He has the ability to run. I didn't say nothing about his
changing direction doesn't work.
Changing direction is not running. Changing direction is all about agility. Agility and speed are two different things, right? So he has the speed. He does not have agility, right? So he can run and hit you when he's running side to side. Now you give him some help, and where he doesn't have to do that as much. Now, guess what? You just took his responsibilities like this and you honed them in, right? So it's about plugging and playing and allowing guys to not have to do as much and not bear the weight, because obviously some of these guys can't bear the weight.
Sure.
So you start bringing in guys who are specialists at what they do. Big boys, run stopper, defensive ends. All you do is rush the ball and guess is rush the quarterback. And guess what? Oh, and then you bring in Dan Quinn, who guess what? I'm going to put you, and I have a history of putting guys in position to accelerate and show off what their skill sets are and not ask them to do anything outside of their abilities.
So I do want to go back to the question I posed to you earlier, though, just really quickly, because you're talking about Trayvon Diggs and not being scared of Trayvon Diggs. Who is our best corner right now on the team for the Cowboys? Who is the number one corner?
The answer has to be Diggs.
Okay.
It has to be Diggs.
The answer is Diggs.
You're not going to say Anthony Brown.
Jordan Lewis was maybe the best down the stretch, but I think that the ceiling, it's Trayvon Diggs.
Well, Patrick Surtain's better than Trayvon Diggs right now. I mean, he would step in and be your top corner at this very moment if you pick him at 10. Is Micah Parsons going to be your best linebacker? I don't know, which is a big question mark. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. He'll start if he's playing. If you're going to pick a guy at 10, that guy's going to start no matter what. No matter what position it is, you're going to start him if you pick him at 10.
And he can make an impact immediately.
He could. I think Surtain would make just as much of an impact, if not more of an impact.
That's why I say best player available. And I say defense. Heck, not Pitts. I don't want to hear about Pitts. I want the best defensive player available. If they draft, that's why I don't want to dismiss corner. IRS. Like if they draft any position on defense and say that's the top guy on our board, we love this guy, he can step in and help us. I don't care if it's a defensive lineman, linebacker, corner. I'm fine with it.
Let me ask
I'm
this.
fine with it.
Sure.
Let me ask this. When you look at around the league, or let's say the Los Angeles Rams, do you think that Jalen Ramsey's job is easy because he's just a stud cornerback, or because he has Aaron Donald on the inside?
Exactly. Because he's a stud cornerback. He was incredible.
I mean, there is such a thing as
coverage
coverage
good
sacks.
since he was in Jacksonville. He hasn't all of a sudden been good because he's in LA.
Do you know how much easier? You know how much easier your job is if you're Jalen Ramsey, if you have Aaron Donald in the interior?
Sure.
That's all I'm saying. That, like, I understand. Yeah, so
that's with anything, Heckma. I mean, anytime you have talented people around you, your job's going to be better. If Rob was terrible at his job, I wouldn't be as good of a host. But good thing Rob's freaking incredible. So that way we're good.
How do you think Patrick Surtain's job is at Alabama playing with?
But he was still better than Diggs.
Position. Come on,
he was still better than the guy we drafted in the second round last year, who was automatically your best corner. He was already better than that guy, and he's going to come in and be better than that guy.
Kyle, all I'm gonna say is, I know we gotta get off the air. All I'm gonna say is, you have an opportunity to make your defense feared at some point in the game. Right? I step up to the line of scrimmage. I can fear you, or I can laugh at you and run the ball up your freaking throat like I did last year. Your choice. Your choice. I'm not fearing two young corners. Name the last time the league has feared two corners.
You're right there. That's I don't know how good you feel about in 2021 that depth. Yeah. Now you're looking more at 2022, 23, where it's like, hey, Diggs takes a step forward. Whoever the corner is, they draft. If they draft one. 2021, not so much. Isaiah's looking at Washington. I think you're looking at their defense, being like, let's get some of that.
I'm looking at just the history of ball. I mean, even my time with the Giants when we won the Super Bowl, our corners were good, but they weren't feared. You know who was feared? Yeah. The front seven. The front seven was feared, right? OC and all them guys. Those guys were feared. That's what you're scared of. Oh crap, we got to deal with these guys every play.
Hey, Isaiah, you got foundation problems? Buy a pool.
That's what I'm saying.
I think
it's shiny.
I think what makes this debate so fun is because at the end of the day, no matter who the pick is at 10, you're going to be a better football team going into 2021. I think that's what makes this fun. Because we can argue about this all we want, but whether the pick is Surtain or whether it's Parsons or whether it's Slater, we're going to be excited. Pitts, I'll even throw him in there. We're going to be excited about that pick because he's a top 10 player. It's one of the top players in the draft class, and he's automatically going to come in and play and start potentially for this team. So I think that's why this is such a fun debate. And it gets you riled up, sure, but at the same time, if Parsons is a pick, I'm rolling with it. Well, let's go. I want him to succeed because I want him to be a better player than what I think he is now. If Surtain's the pick, Isaiah, Heckma, they're going to roll. If Pitts is the pick, then we'll all give Dave Hellman a high five in the hallway, and we'll keep rolling with it. So there's plenty of things that we can look forward to whenever the draft comes around on April 29th. But that's going to do it here for us on Talkin' Cowboys. You got an extra 5 minutes out of us today. But for Rob Phillips, for Heckma Harrison, Isaiah Stanback, and Aaron Gonzalez back in the studio, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long. We'll see you next week on Talkin' Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?